guys. Coach will open with a quick comment here, and then we'll get to as many questions as we can.
All right, hope everybody's doing well. I think today's scrimmage was a lot of what we expected for the 8th practice of the year, only the 3rd practice that we've had really in pads. But I think it was a good opportunity to, get players out on the field, see what they know, see how they could sustain, a focus and a competitive level. And I think everybody has to self-assess, and that's what a competitive situation gives everybody an opportunity to do, sort of self-assess. Where am I? Am I in good enough physical condition to be able to sustain my effort, my mental and physical toughness, stay focused on doing my job, have the mental toughness not to say, oh man, it's really hot today and I can't think about what I'm supposed to do. So all this is a great opportunity, I think, for people to self-assess on where they are and tell themselves the truth, right, about where they are. And I think for us as coaches, we have to tell them the truth about where we are, so where they are. I think that comes to each individual in terms of their physical development at their position and what they have to do to play winning football, and what we need to do and improve on as a team. And I think that obviously after we watch this film, we'll have a lot better indication about how players did that. A lot of the stuff was game-like today, but we also had a lot of situational things. And I don't think there's any player here who, if they assess what they did and where they are, and they calibrated it relative to the best player they're going to play against all year long, whether you're an offensive lineman, a wide receiver, a defensive back, or a defensive lineman, or a linebacker, all right, this is the best guy I have to play against. How would I assess where I am relative to that? So it's not necessarily even how you did today. It's really about where you can go and how good you can be, and that's what we really want our players to stay focused on. Players are obviously off tomorrow. We're going to be off, on Monday as well to watch the film. Maybe do something like lift weights, stretch and stride, something like that. We're obviously going to have a team event on Monday. And just to make a comment about that, because I know you'll probably ask me about it, this is, the players have, made these choices and decisions about what they want to do, how they want to be heard, and we want to support them because we do support what they want to do. I think they did a really good job in what they did before. I think we implemented sort of a speaker series from some very prominent people: Condoleezza Rice, Tony Dungy, Stephen A. Smith, Joey Galloway, Charles Barkley, and they all did a phenomenal job of trying to explain to players, how can we have a plan for change? How can we make things better, in the future? And I think that's what our players have really been focused on, and I think, that'll be, what they want to try to get out there and message, on Monday, and we're very much in support of that. We had some players who did not participate today, and hopefully we'll get those players back very soon, and we're treating those players as if all players who can't practice are just like they're injured, and that's the way we're approaching it, and trying to do everything we can possible to keep our players safe.
Okay, Coach, we'll start with Charlie Potter.
Just starting off, what did you see from the quarterbacks out there today?
Well, Bryce didn't work today, and he'll be back on Monday. So I think Mac did some good things. I think he had 3 touchdown passes, and I don't know, he was 21 for 36. But I just think Mac's got to play within himself, be confident, be positive, not beat himself up when he makes bad plays. And, that's part of the maturity level of a competitor that his game experience is going to help him do. And I think his experiences leading up to the game will help him do as well. I think, the other guys, they've got work to do, just pace of play, speed of the game. The game speeds up, the rush speeds up. You got to be comfortable being uncomfortable with, how fast the game goes. So I think those guys are going to improve with the experiences they have relative to that.
Okay, we'll go to Michael Casagrande.
Yes, just wondering what have you seen from players this year in terms of conditioning in their first scrimmage? You know, you have a new strength and conditioning program. How have they done with that? How have they done with injuries so far?
Well, I think the injuries have gone, fairly well, knock on wood. I don't think that there's anything really to compare fall camp to because this is an abnormal sort of fall camp because it really isn't fall camp. We haven't practiced every day. We practice pretty much every other day. I think we've had 2 occasions where we practiced back-to-back. The first 2 days we started, and then yesterday and today. All right, so it's a little bit different to try to, kind of judge where the team is because what you're used to is you're used to seeing, sort of a different kind of grind, so to speak. And then the last 2 days we practiced in pads, Wednesday and today. It's been like 107-degree heat index or whatever with 90% humidity. So that's difficult. We acknowledge that's difficult for players. It's challenging to them mentally, but it's also a good experience for them because it helps them develop perseverance, ability to overcome adversity, ability to focus in adverse circumstances. So I'm not disappointed where the players are at all. I think they like the new strength and conditioning coaches. I certainly like the sports science aspect of how we've implemented things, and hopefully we'll get a better idea of how we assess the conditioning of the team when we start practicing more like game weeks.
Go to Tony Sakalas.
Yeah, Coach, what have you seen from Brian Branch, and do you envision him having the skills needed to play the star position?
Brian Branch and Malachi Moore, both have been playing star. They're both young players, and they both have shown the potential to be able to play the position and play winning football at the position. So it's certainly a position of need for us. We talked before about losing 4 starters out of 5 guys last year and a lot of experience. And, Patrick Surdane could obviously play star, but, he's so valuable at corner, you hate to move him in there. But Marcus Banks and Josh Jobe have both made significant progress at corner. So, but those 2 guys have shown promise, and hopefully they're going to be able to help us this year.
Okay, we'll go to Cecil Hurt next.
Hello, Coach. I was just curious, it's been such a long summer, and just to get to this point where you were in this stadium, where you had 11-on-11 football going on, what was some of your feelings?
What was my feelings? Well, I was excited for the players. I've talked before about, playing this season, for me is all about them having an opportunity, if we can figure out how to do it safely, all right, so that they can create value for themselves individually and collectively as a team. So every day that we're able to go out there with a good number of guys that are healthy and doing well and have positive energy and positive attitude and are working hard to try to get better, it's exciting for me. And to go back in the stadium today was exciting because every step you take makes it feel like, yeah, we are going to play a game. And I think there's been a bit of a transition psychologically for players, coaches, and everyone else because it has been a long time and it's not been normal, and there's a lot of uncertainty, or there has been a lot of uncertainty about what's going to happen next, that you kind of get in the mode that we're practicing to practice, which is a little bit different than practicing to play games and practicing to play against great competition. And I think we've been trying to get the players to transition into that. So you want to have short-term goals, but you want to have long-term goals too, in terms of these games are going to be coming up. Let's make sure we're ready to play.
We'll go to Aaron Sells.
I'm sorry?
Coach, I was wondering your initial impressions of the outside linebackers, and do you feel like when you get to time to play games, you'll have multiple players there that you feel you can play winning football with?
Yeah, I sure do. I really like, Chris Allen and Ben Davis are older guys that have experience at the position, and they've done well. And we have several freshmen, Drew Sanders and Will Anderson. Both have showing some promise. They're still, working through, understanding exactly what to do and how to do it. But they're both, guys that I think can probably contribute to the team. I think we have some other guys who, at linebacker in general, who might be able to develop and help us, this year as well.
Okay, a couple more. We'll go to James Ogletree next.
Hey, Coach, like you mentioned, getting into a more game-like situation today, I was curious about the communication along the offensive line and how you thought the centers did at facilitating that. And for Chris and Darian, what do they bring to that center position?
Well, we feel good about 3 guys that can play center for us, and those 2 guys can play. And I think both those guys have done very, very well. They made improvements. I think they have good knowledge and experience. And these guys are, Darian is only playing center. All right, everybody else is moving around to play. We've also played Emil at center some too, and he's done a nice job, and he's done a nice job at developing at guard. So, I think we need to develop depth, in the offensive line. I think the experience shows in all those players, and I think that if we can stay healthy there, that we can have a pretty good offensive line.
Okay, we'll wrap up with Marty Smith. Marty, go ahead.
Coach, how you doing, man? Yeah, sorry it took me a minute to figure out the technology. Coach, I'm curious from a leadership perspective what doing the same job you've done at such a high level for so long either required or demanded of you as a leader, as a coach, that you've never experienced before.
Well, but I think these are all opportunities to learn and grow, and how do you sort of set a good example for players, the people around you. How do you do things to serve them for their benefit? And I think that you got to bring people together, which I've been pleased with the way our players have handled all these circumstances. They've tried to do it together as a team. And they've been pretty responsive in the way they've done it. But all these things that come up are new challenges, but new challenges are also new opportunities, whether they're opportunities to learn, whether they're opportunities to figure out the best way to keep moving people along in a positive direction, to keep their focus on things that are important in terms of how they can really make change, how they have to deal with the circumstances that they're in. Relative to COVID. I mean, there's a lot of things happening right now, but I think that creates a lot of opportunity for all of us in leadership positions to, really send a positive message to how can we make change. And we made a lot of change, and for a long time. We're certainly not where we need to be, but we certainly need to continue to try to do things in a positive way so that we can create positive change and opportunities for folks down the road and do it in a safe way.
All right, Coach, thank you.
All right, thank you guys.